can we talk about Avengers? And this is going to be spoilers top to bottom.
Guys, there
So
has never been, and I assure you of this, this is not hyperbole. There's never been an episode that's going to be more full of spoilers, because normally when we do an episode like this, it's about Star Wars or Halloween or something. It's not about both Game of Thrones, which is notoriously don't spoil it, and Avengers Endgame, which, as most people have been referring to it as the last Avengers, at least the last of this iteration of this thing, we're doing them both
yeah,
right here, right now. So
yeah, it's rare we do that because Jim rarely leaves the house to see a movie that's current in the theatres.
if it's an MCU movie of this import, I will see it. Of course, I'll see it.
I honestly, I didn't really care. It sort of snuck up on me. But everybody was like, "Oh, you got to see it. It's coming out. I've already got tickets." And I was like, "Okay, this has that event feel." And it is the last one of this phase or whatever the hell they're doing. So I said, "Yeah, okay." And I wanted to see it because people were spoiling stuff on Facebook. And I'm not a huge "please don't spoil it for me" guy, but it's like, if I can avoid it, I will, and gives me a reason to go to the movies.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk about that just as a general point in a minute, but I feel like you had another place you were about to go.
Not at all.
Oh,
Although my movie going experience, leading up to the movie. See, I used to, and I'm sure I've mentioned this, I used to love trailers. I used to love previews. And now there's like 12 of them. And I just
I
can't.
know.
So the movie started at 11 a.m. and we got there at like 11:05. Now normally that would kill me and I would have this weird panic and anxiety within me, like, oh, but this time I'm like, yeah, I hope they're like 5 trailers in by the time I even get there, because Jesus Christ. And Avengers Endgame, it's a 3-hour movie. It's a 3-hour movie.
3
Jim.
hour and 4 minutes or 7 minutes. It's longer than Return of the King.
That's crazy to me.
I know.
Which
I
which
Googled
version?
it.
A theatrical or extendo?
The theatrical, but
Man.
still, the theatrical one has like a I would say like a history or like a reputation as being like, Jesus, that was long. When you're sitting in the theater and you're like, yeah, now they go back to the Shire, now they cry with the hobbits, and you're the kings, and now this guy, and now what happens with Frodo, and where's Bilbo going, and what about Sam and that redhead? Like, it's the 90-minute ending movie.
Yeah, and I think what kills that one, if my memory serves me right, which it won't, but I remember it being a lot of fades to blacks, like, and the movies, and it would fade back in. It's like, nope, now we got to see how Sam's doing, and then it would fade to black. It's like, nope, we fall CG again. We got to see what this guy's up to. I remember it being comical at a point where this one, it's Endgame does have sort of an epilogue thing where there's some handoffs, some people saying goodbye, but it doesn't feel that way, and it didn't feel long. It didn't feel 3 hours and 4 minutes. I didn't go to the bathroom once.
That is okay. So we're on the same page, guys. You've listened to us. Some of you have been listening to me and Dale talk about, I would say mostly movies, but a bunch of other stuff. But a lot of these big movie things we talk about. You've been listening to us for almost 10 years talk about this. And there are times where he and I are right in sync. There are times where I'm one way and he's another way, and I kind of see his point. Then there's times like Logan where it's just like awkward silences for 2.5 minutes at a time. But that is the overall overarching thing. If I could say one thing to people that doesn't spoil it, but I think is noteworthy and needs to be said, is that it's 3 hours and 7 minutes or whatever, but it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't necessarily want to say I wanted more and more and more, but it didn't feel like the end of Return of the King where I'm like, oh, they won. Okay.
Well, we knew that they had 3 hours to get all their shit in, and I think we talked about that, where there's not going to be a lot of slow moments. There's not going to be a lot of slow scenes. They got to go, and wrap it up, take it home, because we're fucking done here, boys. So yeah, it didn't feel that way. And there were times where I was watching it and I was like, I wonder how far we are.
Yeah.
Like, has it been an hour and a half? Are we at the half mark?
I could tell like based on what's happening in the plot, like we're 2/3 in or something, but I couldn't like nail down where are we time wise. And I didn't know
Yeah.
until I was standing in line and I looked it up because I'm like, I heard this one's really long. And someone asked me, well, how long was the first Avengers? I'm like, I bet it was like 2:15. And I think it was like right around there, like 2 hours and 12 minutes or something like that. And then I saw the running time for this one. I was like, holy shit, that's almost as long as Return of the King. And I looked at Return of the King and it's like a little bit longer. It's like 10 minutes
Mm.
longer. And I was like, Jesus Christ. Well, they better not leave out any important shit because you got 3 hours to get her done. And I don't feel like they did. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't think it didn't feel long, so don't let that scare you. But if you're listening to this, I would assume you've already seen it.
Everyone has seen it. The fucking movie's already made like $1.3 billion, and it's been out for 2 days.
Please beat
It's
Avatar, so I don't have to
ridiculous.
hear about Mike and Avatar anymore. Like, well, Avatar. I mean, that's something else. You can't beat that.
I still don't understand how Avatar did anything.
I'll tell you exactly how. Like 75% of their ticket sales, or something ridiculous like that, were 3D ticket sales because it was
Oh,
like
so there's inflated price
right.
then?
It's
Oh,
like
because it
bringing
was
back
at that
3D.
time.
Yeah, that was like the first big 3D movie again. That like started it
Yeah.
all off. The big 3D resurgence. So it was like, guys, it's a spectacle, and you have to see it in 3D. You just have to. So everyone did,
Yeah.
and those are like
Okay.
$15
Yeah.
tickets.
I mean, and there's 3D versions of this movie, but yeah, that was the pretty much the regenesis of it. God, fuck. That's just another reason for me to hate Avatar because I don't like. The
I've still
3D.
never seen it, and
God damn it.
I never will. I don't feel a need to. No one told me you got to see it. It's an amazing story. Everyone said it's so visually stunning. I'm like, I'm sure it isn't now.
So I get Monday and Tuesday off. I say I'll see it Monday. I'll see it as soon as I can. 11 a.m. Let's go. Let's go. And ultra screen.
Okay.
3 or 4 rows from the back.
Ultra screen, is that like
Nice.
70 millimeter? Is that like the big thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And get there a little late, which was perfect. And there's only just a couple people on the phones during. I'd see that blinding light.
I know. I hate it so bad.
Do people think other folks aren't seeing this? You might as well have shot off a fucking flare gun. What are you doing? And there was the one guy, and I've talked about this. There's the one guy where I saw him during the previews. He's like, I'm just gonna turn the brightness down. It'll be okay when I check my phone. No, this makes you an even worse person because you know what you're doing is bad.
Yeah, you know
Oh,
you're gonna do it again. That's what you're saying. You're admitting to it just by making that motion.
but the fucking guy next to me, so I get to the seat, and I get hot almost immediately because he has his soda in my fucking cup holder. Now, I didn't know that was a thing that would trigger me, but apparently it is. Um, but I ask him to move it, and he does. And this guy's got like 2 bags of popcorn, a hot dog, a thing of nachos, and his wife's got a whole bunch of shit.
Crunch,
And when
crunch.
I put, I get in, it's the heated seats too, by the way.
Oh,
It's like that.
Jesus.
I was like, ooh, I get lumbar support and it's fucking heated. I fell asleep a couple times, and we'll get to that too. We'll get to that too. But I was having a good time, and I put my fucking arm down on the armrest, my armrest, and I was like, I felt like I dipped it in sand, and I was like, what is it? It's all popcorn crumbs and shit. This
Oh
fucking
no.
animal. This is the previews. It's already accumulated to this level. We're fucking 3 previews in. You fucking
Jesus.
savage. And then like you're a music guy. They play some 80s, maybe even 70s rock song as they're throwing one of the title screens on, and this guy starts singing to it, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to kill this man before this film is over
Oh
because he's
yeah.
already getting me dirty, and he's singing along with this like it's karaoke. I mean, he cooled his jets, but it was a iffy start.
That would drive me nuts. We went
Yeah.
on the Saturday night. We got in line at 5:30 for the 6:30 show. And it was worth it because we got the seats we wanted in the back. There were 4 of us. Our children were super well behaved, 4 and 9. The
What's
kid
their
next
names?
to me, teenage kid, his phone lit up once during the previews, but during the movie, he was good to go.
That's
It
good.
was a pretty good experience. It was a little loud for Jack. They kicked the sound up because the movie's about to start, he put his hands on his ears,
Ooh.
which I remember doing. I was a little bit older than him when Batman came out in 1989. I saw that at River Oaks 9 and 10, and I remember thinking like, God, like Mom, this is loud. Should it be this loud? And I remember my mom and dad were like, it's not that loud, but they also weren't 5. And now,
Mm,
so I remembered it. I'm like, I know, buddy, you can put your hands there. It'll be okay. And then he got used to it
yeah.
after a while, and his hands went
And
down.
he started to appreciate that Dolby sound.
Mm-hmm.
Said, "Fucking Mr. Dolby nailed it. I'm gonna invest in Dolby. I think they're still kicking. Well, that's good, And I'll let people do the phone stuff in the trailers. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But the second, especially when I go to local Marcus Theater and the movie is a little preamble with the Marcus president. So when I see that goofy motherfucker on the screen, it's like, "Welcome to Marcus."
Yeah,
You
I
want
forgot.
to see a bad comedy bit because it's coming.
I forgot about those. I've only
Here's the
been
worst
to.
45 seconds of your day.
I think I've only been there once or twice. I forgot that happens.
Yeah, I forget about it every time, and then I see his goofy fucking elf face, and yeah, but yeah. Movie starts and it's all good. Now I don't know if we want to do like plot discussion. I was thinking an interesting way of discussing this was we'll do a brief synopsis, and then because I'm on the Wikipedia and just looking at the characters, almost doing it character by character, just seeing how their story went in it and how, of course, it wrapped up. Who lived, who died, who tells your story, all that stuff.
You
Because what surprised me the most was this is a fucking sci-fi movie,
Yeah,
you
they
know?
they made it very cosmic, and I sort of didn't know if they would have the balls to do that when the first Avengers came out, and you sort of the story in the comics where this has to go and who has to be involved, and like you know Adam Warlock and the Nova Corps and Nova and flying through space and all kinds of shit. Like they don't got the balls to do all that. Thanos is just gonna come down with some stones. But they built it all up and they hooked us in with Guardians of the Galaxy with the space shit. Like, no, 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 you like space shit.
You
Like
love space shit.
like they built it all up toward this and they committed to some things that I didn't see. They surprised me with a couple things.
I was also surprised with a couple things, pleasantly, and I think a couple unpleasantly.
There were a couple
But
of things I didn't like. We'll talk about that for sure. I want to say
but
more to the spoiler point, though. To me, this is a movie where people are going to die. You just know it. You know that as the last one, they're going to want you to cry. They're going to want you to feel loss or whatever. They're going to want you to know there's finally stakes for people here. Uh, it, it, and
yeah,
when we get to Game of Thrones,
yeah.
the Game of Thrones since day one has been telling you like, don't get attached to any of these people.
Unless it's this guy, this lady, this other lady, and this guy, because they're all going to be fine apparently. But you know what? We'll get to Thrones. We'll get to Thrones. But yeah, so this movie is essentially it picks up after the fucking Infinity War, where half the population gets snapped and dusted, and it's awesome. This one opens really good. I don't want to do the scene by scene, but I love the opening with Hawkeye and his family, and he's showing the daughter how to
Yes.
shoot the bow and arrow, and I'm like, oh man, this is a nice little opening. I can see why this is 3 hours because it seems like it already doesn't need to be here. And then of course, he turns around and says something to his daughter, and you just see like a very brief wisp of the dust as like his whole family gets
Yeah.
snapped
They don't have to
out of
do it hard
existence.
because we already know what that means. And we're
Yeah.
looking for it. They know we're going to be looking for it. So they put a little bit there. And he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. And I'll tell you what, man, I got choked up during that scene. First fucking scene of the movie.
Yeah, not bad.
I'm like,
And
I'm a
Hawkeye,
family guy. I got my children there next to me. They're playing catch, and they're, hey, Dad, we're having a picnic. And the thing is, this isn't a movie where it's like, it's built on surprises or it doesn't work. Like, I know what's about to happen. Like, I know they're going to get snapped out of existence. I know this is happening, and it still works and affects me.
Yeah. Now, the long and short of it is the Avengers are going to play with some time travel. They're going
Yep.
to go get the stones, and they're going to fucking play with some time. They're going to go back in time, fix it, and good guys win because that's how things work. But Hawkeye, we open with Hawkeye. Yeah, everyone always laughs at Hawkeye. They're like, this fucking guy with the bow. This like he's standing next to a god. He's
Mm-hmm.
literally standing next to a guy who's got a bow and arrow. The opening scene with Hawkeye was awesome. All of Hawkeye's scenes were great. He was one of the fucking MVPs of the movie,
Yes.
and I wouldn't have bet money on that leading up to it. He because his family gets got, and he kind of snaps a bit. He kind of becomes this vigilante, fucking like he becomes the Punisher,
Yeah, essentially,
and
yes.
it's super super awesome. He gets a little badass little haircut, and it's awesome. I got very invested. I hate whenever they do the Hawkeye, Black Widow, and any of the romance stuff. I tap out, but yeah, otherwise that the Hawkeye shit was great.
I loved the Hawkeye Black Widow scenes because I think from the first Avengers through the second one to now, they've established that it's not necessarily just a romantic thing. They're partners, they're like best friends. Maybe there's some romance somewhere in there, but I think Age of Ultron was like, hey, no. See, there's not really romance here. He's got a wife. Maybe was a crush at some point, but they're
Yeah,
like the best friends that maybe dated and it didn't work, but then they're still best friends.
I always felt they hedged their bets with that. They're like, no, they're not going to be together. In fact, it looks like she wants a banner. It looks like there's a Hulk thing happening.
Well, yeah,
And
let's
it's
not
just,
talk too much about Age of Ultron because it was the worst one of all the Avengers movies.
But yeah, Hawkeye, and with storytelling, it's always show don't tell. Don't say you're my best friend and I love you and I'll sacrifice myself for you because I couldn't live. Blah 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 blah. So instead of just saying that, because they have to retrieve the Soul Stone, and to get the Soul Stone, somebody's got to, you have to. It's soul for a soul. So someone's got to, sacrifice themselves, and they're racing to kill themselves and
Yeah.
fighting each other. Like, no, I'm going to kill myself, and
they get into like this
yeah, it was
intense
great.
battle to be the one who dies instead of fighting to be the one who lives.
Yeah.
So this is the
That's
second
very
time they've had to fight each other. It's like a callback to the first Avengers when he's hypnotized for like the whole movie and he's basically a bad guy and she beats the fuck out of him until he's a good guy again. This is like that where they're fighting and they don't want to have to fight, but the situation sort of requires it. And like I was saying with the first scene, after you see where all the teams are, it's not even something like they want you to figure it out. Like you just know, oh, well shit, I know how you got to get the Soul Stone. You know what I mean? Like it's something they let you know what's coming and they make you like endure it.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, surprise, they killed Red Skull and just took it. Like no, you knew what needed to happen.
So what's left of the Avengers, they say, all right, we need to. Ant-Man figures out some time travel. Tony Stark finishes the job of what he started, and they get time travel as an option. And they say, all right, we're going to go back in time. We've limited chances here, which is always good.
They make fun of time travel because all of Ant-Man in War Machine's references are from fiction. They're only from like movies and like Back to the Future and Terminator and shit. And they poke fun at that because like they're self-aware, which I thought was not a bad idea.
Yeah, I could have done without it. Like I was understanding the references, but when he actually said Back to the Future, I was just like, oh, one step too far.
Well, no, you know what I thought? It would have been better. It would have worked if he'd have said like, no, Back to the Future 2. That one happens in Back to the Future 2.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that.
There were a couple lines that were on the nose, something like, I can't believe it's been 23 months since Thanos. And I'm like, oh, fuck, movie, Jesus Christ. Like, it almost knocked me out of my seat.
So, back to the opening. So, we're not, scene by scene. The present day, like, things just got snapped. people get together, go to space, find Thanos, and kill him. But like,
Yeah,
and then
this
what?
is the
Now what? Everyone's
this
dead.
is this is the nuttiest thing I've ever seen. They said we're gonna go kill Thanos. We know we don't have a shot in hell, but we're gonna go do it. Thanos is on this paradise planet, and they go to the paradise planet, and he doesn't have the stones. He says, "I don't have the stones. I fucking destroyed them because of temptation. So fuck off." And Thor just cuts his goddamn head off, and it's quick. They edit it in a fun way, but it's still very impactful and brutal. And I was like, "Damn!" That's why I knew we were gonna be in for a good time.
Yeah.
We're gonna be in for a good time.
And it's sort of a hollow victory. Like, I went for the head. And that was sort of a meme after the Infinity War, right? But they did go for the head, but like, and now what? And then 5 years go by, and everyone's still
Yeah.
gone, and you're just fucked.
Yeah. So the remainder say, all right, we've got time travel in play. We're gonna go back. We're gonna get these stones, and we're gonna play with the time shit and unsnap. We're gonna do a reverse snap, and they do it in a way where it almost becomes a celebration of all the fucking other Marvel movies that we've seen, because they're gonna time travel to essentially the other movies.
Yep.
You know, we get to see some like Iron Man 1 and the Thor 1 timeline and stuff like that, which is super fun and super cute. I loved it. I actually that was probably my favorite sequence. Like when they're in the fucking lobby with Loki and he's
Yes.
handcuffed with the briefcase because they need to get the Tesseract.
Uh-huh.
And like there's
And-
3 teams.
and they-
Each team needs to go and get their fucking stone, and everybody does it except for Iron Man's team. And
Well, 'cause,
Loki
yeah.
just like takes off with it, and they're like, "Well, fuck."
Iron Man's team realizes that in New York City at that time, 3 of them were there. So like that team of 3 can get 3 stones in one jump. Because they're all in New York. Because they after the fact they know, oh well, that this is where that chick had the time stone around her neck, right in New York, there, right in Manhattan, and we know that Loki had the Tesseract, and the staff had, which one was in the staff? The mind? No.
Yeah,
The Mind Stone, because that becomes Vision and Ultron, and yeah. So, they get like 2 of them, and they try to get the Tesseract, can't get it. Fucking Cap fighting 2012 Cap made me like a little kid. I had like the little tickle in my tummy because 2012 Cap's gonna be all fucking serious. Like, I can't let you do this.
Yeah.
And this Cap is like sort of.
He's learned a couple raunchy jokes.
He's learned some raunchy jokes and like been through way more shit.
Like, he's been to space and shit, all that kind of shit.
Found Bucky, redeemed him, betrayed Tony Stark, came back, lost everybody. You know, like everyone gets blinked out of existence. All this crazy shit. So he's got some cards to play. And that what was cool, which I don't know why I didn't think of this because I'm fucking stupid. 2012 Cap's like, okay, Loki, give it up. And you're like, oh yeah, Loki would do that shit.
That's who he's yeah.
We get a redo on the elevator scene from Winter Soldier.
The elevators, we get to see Winter Soldier again, and because there's a real big elevator fight where he realizes he's in an elevator with Hydra guys, but that's old head. He knows these guys are bad, but he needs that briefcase, and he gets in there with them, and we know that this goes south real quick, but. He's just like, I need that briefcase. No, the director knows everything's. I can't do that, Cap. And they reach for their guns and all that shit. He's like, no, it's all good. Hail Hydra.
And they're like, oh shit, Cap is in. Okay.
Yeah. And then the next scene, he's just got it.
Dummies. And he's walking out of there.
And it's a very Captain thing to do because he didn't have to spill any blood.
Right.
You know, and it made me think like, wow, they've done, because Captain America and Superman are very similar in a lot of ways. You know, the Boy Scout shit, and they've done such a good job with Captain America compared to DC's Superman abortions.
Cap is everything we need him to be. We need Cap to be that guy in these movies.
It's America's ass.
That is America's ass.
Yeah, and a lot of the jokes were appropriate and usually pretty funny. Some of them, didn't land with me, but yeah, there are some good chuckles, some good jokes.
Yeah. they knew we saw it because I'm like, he does got a nice ass, doesn't he? I was thinking it. I saw his ass there. I saw him look at his own ass, and then he said what I was thinking. It's America's ass. Um, yeah, Tony Stark dressed up as the agent, and the Hulk
Oh,
doesn't want
yeah,
to
and
take the stairs, and they lose it because Hulk had a tantrum taking the stairs. 2012 Hulk. Hulk hates stairs. But it was cool because it was like Back to the Future 2, where
oh
it's like,
yeah,
oh, we saw this scene before, but now we're seeing it from a different perspective. Like it was,
different perspective, different shots. You know, they refilmed some shit,
yep,
which
different
is awesome.
lines. You know, like you could, like in Back to the Future 2, you're like, oh, this is exactly the shot, but like here's a new shot of a different angle of that scene that they redid because Marty's there twice. Like it was crazy. I got that vibe, and I love Back to the Future 2, so I can't hate
Yeah,
on that.
yeah. So yeah, we also see that the Hulk is a bit different than we've seen him previously. He's more of a hybrid. You know, he's Bruce Banner and the Hulk. Like he's Hulk green, Hulk size, but he's just like, hey, it's me. And I remember his first line in the movie was as Bruce Banner, and I don't know, it sounded so weird that I almost started laughing at the
Yeah.
theater. He's got such a weird voice.
And he's into it. Like you could tell his confidence is through the roof that he's Hulk all the time. Like maybe even to a fault. You know, hey, yeah, come get a picture. It's fine. And sort of like the kind of tense, pent up Banner, reserved, like quiet guy. He's just like he's and he should be because he's not scared of the monster coming out. It's all one guy now. Now that Dale, I don't know if you know, some of our listeners will know, some of them might not, but this was the Hulk at the time of this story in the comics was that Hulk. I want to say it happened in like 90 or 91. Bruce Banner. In the comics, there were two Hulks. There was a gray Hulk and a green Hulk. When he got mad, he turned into the green Hulk. When it was nighttime, he turned into the gray Hulk. It was weird. They had a lot of Hulk comics going. They decided let's combine Banner and these two Hulks into one Hulk who was green and could talk and was just Bruce Banner, but the Hulk all the time. So they didn't pull this out of thin air. I just did not see this coming in the MCU.
Yeah, and it was another. It worked out well for him. I'm sure they embraced it because they got to do more comedy, and
they got
yeah,
to
I think it worked.
it helped him with the writing because you're not just hinging on, ooh, when is this Hulk moment gonna happen? Like, wait a minute, he's just a Hulk all the time. So they got to do more creative things, I think.
Yeah, because you were hoping for that. You're like, there needs to be a big scene where he legitimately hulks out and just takes down half the fucking universe with a fight.
Well, yeah, I was saying
not
they were
really the
building
case.
it up. Like they were, as much as they built it up within the first Avengers movie, where you're like, when's he gonna turn into the Hulk? When's he gonna turn into the Hulk? They built that up for an entire movie, last movie. You know, he gets knocked out right away, and then Hulk is scared. Hulk goes away. So I'm like, you built that for a whole movie. You got to give me a big Hulk payoff, and they did in a way, but I did not see this coming at all.
Were those new scenes with Natalie Portman?
Yes, I think.
Okay.
I mean that 1.2 shots or whatever it was. I think so.
In the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was neat. All the callbacks, you know. And there's one point where
Fat
Thor's
Thor.
fat. All right, let's talk about Fat Thor.
You want to talk about the shirt? Okay.
If there are any problems you might have had with this movie, it's all forgiven because of Fat Thor.
Fat, drunk Thor.
Yeah, fucking Chris Hemsworth. I didn't know you had it in you. For every scene, I was like, they need to get him out of here because he's stealing every fucking scene. Even in the background. It's just like, I'm like, get him out.
I just wish I could have been sitting in the room. We're like, well, what are we gonna do with Thor, guys? Fat Thor. Like, I want to hear that across the table, and then everyone lighting up like, that's great, Fat Thor.
And he goes, does a time travel. Asgard sees his mom before she gets murdered, and they have a little heart to heart. and her parting words were like, "Eat a salad, though.
Yeah.
I love you too, but eat a salad. How about that, Tubby?" That like very very good,
Yeah.
very good. I love Thor because he's a god and he failed and he didn't handle it particularly well.
And then he sort of lied to himself about how, yeah, well, who killed Thanos? I did. None of you did. You did it too late, and everybody
Hmm.
died. But yeah, you did it. Yeah, great. Good job.
And I thought the movie
He's fucking
took
playing Fortnite. His
yeah,
buddies are playing Fortnite. Oh my god.
that's not gonna age well. I hate that shit.
It's not, but it was like that's what drunk fat Thor would do on New
Yeah,
Asgard. He would play
yeah,
Xbox Live and threaten people.
yeah. Um, so yeah, the Avengers they go and kill Thanos. He's destroyed the stones. He's much easier to kill this go around. But then they start playing with time, and in that timeline, Thanos gets a wind of what they're trying to do because
Mm-hmm.
Nebula's circuits play a thing like R2D2, and he's like, "Oh shit, some shit went down over there. Apparently, I got killed, but I know where the stones are now. They've essentially just told me where the stones are, which I'm looking for currently. So thanks for that.
You know what I liked too? They didn't fuck around where it's like, well, that's how he found out about the stones because they went back in time. They were like, no, that's not how this works. Once we go back, we split it off into a new thing. They weren't fucking around with like loops where it's like, that's how they figured out about the Terminator because the Terminator went back. No. So this was like a new Thanos to us, basically, kind
Yeah,
of
yeah, it's Thanos too.
figuring out another. Oh, this is even easier. You already have them all on a glove for me, or you're
And th-
about
and
to.
and that's why I love Thanos because he's like seeing this in real time, and he doesn't freak out. He's just like, "All right,
Yeah, he
here's
sees
what we're
his head
doing
get cut
now."
off in the R2D2 Princess Leia footage. He sees his head get lopped off, and he doesn't blink an eye. He's like, "Well, yeah, well, I won. Cool. That's what I told you I was going to do, and I did it. Yep. So let's go do it."
Yeah.
He wasn't like, "But this time they won." No, he doesn't care. That's not his goal.
I'm glad we only got so much of the Nebula Gamora stuff. I appreciate that storyline, but
We had
it,
it.
it had yeah, we had it. And it has the capability of like taking over a fucking movie. So
They
I'm glad
did
it didn't.
dip their toe into something interesting about consciousness and like humanity, where Ma is like, well, I can see her memory because she's here right now in this timeline, and like her consciousness is like one thing, and now there's two of her, and I can get into her consciousness no matter where it is. So like, ooh, what is consciousness? Like, got a little too deep for me to handle for just like a split second. I'm like, whoa, I
Well,
can't.
the whole movie, I'm like, we're dealing with time travel, that issue, some philosophical stuff. It was interesting. Nothing too deep, but they didn't have to go there. But they did, and they stayed in that lane for like the whole goddamn thing. Um, which was fun. I wasn't crying for more explosions. I was like, I need explosions. I was like, this is fine.
I liked it.
Let's just do and time heist. When he said time heist, I was like, can that be the whole movie? And then it felt like it was, and I was like, this is great.
Yeah, and then it's like, uh, you got a little extra, right? Because when they're in New York, Tony and Cap are like, oh yeah, and they were both there. Yep. And there's more of that stuff. Yep. And they don't really tell us what's going on, which that was like a cool, like we didn't see that coming really. And then we got to figure it out. Like, oh, the bunker that we saw in Winter Soldier, there was a
Mhm.
time where that stone was there and fucking more Pym particles because Hank Pym was there.
Yeah. Another thing I liked as far as show don't tell is how different they are, how they've grown since their original movies. Like the Cap versus Cap,
Yep.
obviously different guy now. The Hulk, when they're like, all right,
Mhm.
Hulk, you need to go out there, but you need to act like 2012 Hulk. So Hulk out on some shit.
He's just like touching things.
Yeah,
He
smash.
takes his shirt off and he's like, okay, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, that I thought they did a very good job. with that, it was just not. And he's Fat Thor the whole movie, by the way. I was waiting for him to like just go off screen for 5 seconds and then be ripped,
Nope.
but no,
He's Fat
he
Thor.
was he's Fat Thor the whole fucking. And his arc is awesome.
Yes.
Love that.
Where it ends up
Yeah.
is really cool, and I'm excited about that.
So I think my least favorite, because I'm looking at the characters, and I think my least favorite part is Captain Marvel, because they
Yes.
have Captain Marvel, and she's a game changer.
She's fucking
And
Superman.
she, I don't know their relationship, but you know more about the comics than I do.
Not really. I mean, not
Now,
I do, but not in this regard. But go ahead.
and like she's a get out of jail free card. So as long as she's around, we're good. We could end this movie toot sweet. So we need to get her out of here for story reasons. And she's just like, yeah, there's a lot of planets out there going through the same shit. I'll pop in when you need me, hit you with some of that Deus Ex Machina, Act 3. But for now, oh, I gotta go. And that was a little weak. But I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do when you're juggling this many characters. Some of them are gonna leave you scratching your head, but it could have been much worse.
It could have been. They at least they set you up for it. Where she's like, "Look, guys, you're the fucking Avengers. A lot of these planets are going through the same shit. They don't have the Avengers. They need Superman to straighten shit out." Like that's the way I took it. Like Superman would be on his own handling shit, and if there was a planet that had the Avengers, he'd be like, "I know they'll probably be okay."
Yeah, but the Avengers are like, we're gonna fix this. So, like, we're not gonna deal with this. We're gonna go back and actually fix it. It's like, well,
Yep.
that's probably more of a priority. So her bailing.
Yeah, but if you think about it, they didn't really have a way to let her know. Like, hey, here's what we're gonna do, right?
It felt like 30 seconds after she left, they were like, bye, Captain Marvel. So, hey, what do you guys think about time travel?
Well, it was
Like,
just
that's
sort.
how.
I don't know what you'd call
Damn
it.
it.
I don't know what you'd call it in like story writing terms, but that random happenstance of the rat opening up the thing happens after she's gone. Like Scott Lang coming back is what triggers all that, and she's gone by then, and doesn't check back in. So,
But I'm really curious if that's like literally the next scene, though.
I think it is.
But when that rat's on that camera on the screen, I was like, look how cute that rat is.
Now, one of our
There's
friends,
a cute rat.
one of our friends, Mike, he had like sort of a problem. He's like, but that's the way they figured it out, like how to write that, like a rat's gonna hit the thing. And I was like, well, you have to look at it in their perspective, though. It's been 5 years of like them giving up. Like it's over. These people are gone. We're never getting them back. So it's not like it happened 40 seconds after he snapped his fingers. And I said, Mike, rats wiped out half the population in the Dark Ages. They're just trying to put rats over again. Look, we took half of you away. We gave half of you back in Avengers. So, rats aren't all bad. They're trying to put the rats over.
There you go. Yeah, it was coincidence, though, to say the least. But
Mhm.
5 years, somebody eventually is gonna do something, hit the button, and make it happen.
Yeah. And they did. Fat Thor's great. We were talking about
Fat
Thor.
Thor.
Now,
Most of the
2014
movies so
Thanos
far.
is like, oh shit, thanks. You're getting them all in one place for me. And like the sort of like tricky double nebula thing. What ends up happening? They get all the stones, which came at a cost. Like your heart is already sunk when they all get back. Like we got all the stones, and they look, and there's no Black Widow. And they gave us stakes, right? And they didn't go back on that. So
I expected a switcheroo. Here was my theory, because there's a Black Widow movie coming out, right? So I guess it's I don't know. We'll find out. So Widow wins the suicide fight, and she's like, "I'm out of here," and I was like, "That's not gonna stand." But it does, and at the very end, after the good guys win, Cap's like, "I'm gonna go return all these stones to their timelines and make everything right." So I was like, "Oh, he's gonna go back to that planet and stuff and return the Soul Stone, he's gonna fucking like swap out for her. He's gonna commit the sacrifice for Widow because that's a very Captain thing to do, and that way we can get our Black Widow movie. But he was like, "No, I'm gonna live life.
You know what?
Actually, can I do that?"
You know what I didn't think about either is he took Mjolnir with him back through time, and I didn't realize it until like today when I was thinking about it. Then I'm like, oh yeah, that's the good. Yeah, I'd bring that with me too if I knew I could hang on to that shit. But he brought it back to Thor's universe with the stone, because like if that hammer's not there, that whole
Yeah.
fucking timeline is fucked. So like he
Yeah.
brought it to give it back, and I was like, oh yeah, dummy, that's why he brought it with him. But they said in Infinity War, I don't know if they said it in these exact terms, but they said it in these exact terms in this one: a soul for a soul. You don't get the soul stone without giving a soul, and that is what happened. So,
And you
the
think
reason
they would?
I thought they were going to go back on it is because I'm like, there's a Guardians 3, and you're going to tell me Gamora's not in it? You're full of shit. There's got to be a way to go back on it, right? But the way they go back on that is 2014 bad guy Gamora, like on the fence Gamora, gets, we don't know what happens to her at the end of the movie. You know, she doesn't get snapped away that we can see, and we don't see where she ended up, right? So that's how they're going to get that character back in the Guardians universe. But they didn't undo her sacrifice in Infinity War, and they didn't undo Black Widows. They stuck to their guns. They said, no, these are the rules, and these rules cannot be undone. And the Hulk even said, like, I tried so hard. That's all, you know, that's what I was trying to do that when I snapped. And it just, you know, I guess it can't be done. Can't get that person back.
And it almost feels like it could happen within their rules. Soul for a soul. So, all right, here's your Soul Stone back. Give me that soul back. Trade backsies. We're doing a trade backs. But they're like, no. They did, which is fine. Which is good. I like that. Spider-Man. Spider-Man in Infinity War is very sad at the end. You know, Spider-Man dies and Iron Man takes it poorly. And we get to see a little bit of that early on in this. But then, you know, when we start playing with time, you know, we get these guys back for a little bit after this the unsnapping.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Spider-Man's back, and Tony Stark hugs him, and Spider-Man's like, "Oh, all right, okay, yeah, this is nice." Like that kid is such a fucking awesome actor. I love that guy.
I feel like he's us in the movie, even though we don't have superpowers. Like powers wise, he's not right, but I feel like he's just he feels like he's just along for the ride in this like wacky, goofy shit thing that's happening, and he plays it really well. Like he plays it like someone that's just along for the ride. In a good way. I don't mean like he's just like, whatever, I guess I'm just here. Yeah, it was great. And then they flipped the feels on us. They feels
yeah,
flip us
little role reversal, feeling flip.
Yeah, the unsnapping was really cool. You knew they were coming back once they got all the shit back, right? You just didn't know when. Like Hulk snapped, and then you could tell that it worked, right? Because Hawkeye's wife calls him, and then you see a bunch of birds outside flying around. Like I think we were meant to feel like, oh, there's more birds than there was. And then Thanos comes through the time portal. And, and they fight, but you're like, well, everyone's got to come back. This is like that point where that's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's great because it happens when Thanos, has like a whole fucking army, and he's just about to steamroll like 5 Avengers, and then all those portals open up, and we see literally every fucking character in the previous Marvel Universe films step through their respective portals, from Wakanda, from Asgard. It doesn't fucking matter. Everyone's coming through.
Scarlet Witch is pissed.
She's very grumpy.
Because one of the other things they didn't undo, because that was not part of the snapping, was him crushing Vision's stone out of his head and killing Vision. So she's not happy. That's like the last thing she remembers is him going back in time and killing Vision, and then like, goodbye, you're dust. So
yeah, and this
fresh. That hasn't been 5 years for her. That shit's fresh. She's mad.
She's mad.
Mhm.
But that fight scene was another situation where that it should be a trope called standing next to a god, and it's that Hawkeye thing again, where it's just like you're good, but you're not. You're standing next to a god because we've and Scarlet Witch is like she's top tier
Yeah.
as far as abilities go, and you've got your Hawkeye, which is fine at this point because he's at this point a ninja assassin, so he definitely gets a pass. And then they show Bucky in this big battle, and he's got his
His
assault
arm.
rifle. Yeah, and it's just like, ooh, how big's that magazine though?
Yeah.
Because you're just gonna reload. Meanwhile, Captain America can now, wield Thor's hammer,
I
and
almost
that
came. I
that
almost came in my
that got a
pants.
that got a big pop
I
in the
almost
theater.
came in my pants for real.
Yeah,
Almost.
that got a. Whew, and Thor was excited about it. He was just like, I knew it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you
'cause
think he might be salty or something.
we talked about it when we talked about the trailer for Avengers: Age of Ultron. Because in the trailer they show them doing the party trick with the hammer, and it moves a little bit when Cap
Yeah.
tries to pick it up, and Thor has this look like, "Well, motherfucker," and then he's like, "Okay, whew." But god damn, that was another thing I didn't see coming. Like I remember that Cap is like the worthiest of humans and couldn't pick it up, right? And now he's fully worthy. And he doesn't just pick up the hammer and like, here, Thor, catch. And we're like, oh, he picked it up. He fucking wields that shit and swings it around and uses it. And you're like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, Captain America, you are everything I hoped you would be and more.
He almost 1v1s Thanos to complete defeat, and he knows all the tricks. He's calling down the thunder and lightning and shit, and doing thunder strike, earthquake maneuvers.
That hammer does have a mind of its own, though. Like
Jesus,
the hammer's got a personality.
Yeah, but
so it probably helped him out with some shit.
Sure, but it looked like he knew,
Yeah, he's like, well, I've seen him. Like, he whips it like this, and then.
I mean, if you're worthy, you're worthy. You're worthy. You know how to use the damn thing.
He was fucking worthy, and Thor was so happy. Fat Thor was like, "Yay!" I think 2011 Thor 1 Thor that can't pick up his own hammer would have been super salty. This Thor, no, he knew it. He like made his day. He almost forgot they were fighting. I knew it. That was great. Oh my god, dude! That I wasn't even thinking about that, And when I saw it move, though, and I was like, oh, shit. Like, what's happening is, like, is someone going to catch it that I'm not expecting, like Captain Marvel? And I'm like, oh, Cap. And then, like, that's crazy. And then Cap's going to give it back to Thor. But Cap's like, no. I'm going to use this for a little minute here. And then Thor, there's a scene after that where Thor's like, here, you take the little one, and gives him Mjolnir back. Because it is smaller than Stormbreaker.
It really was. And it's a nice way for both heroes to have a cool thing.
Yeah.
Because if Thor was literally just standing there without a hammer or something, it'd look kind of weak. But he's like, I got this big thing instead, though. I'm good.
When he's fighting Thanos at the end of Infinity War, Cap, you're like, Cap, you got heart, man. And you got that super soldier serum, and it's something, but it ain't even close to Hulk levels. And he had but one stone and destroyed the Hulk. But Cap's like, I don't care. Like, Cap doesn't quit. But now he's got a little equalizer. Now he's got a little. You never fought Cap with heart and a hammer. Like, you probably don't want to fuck around with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all been building into this. Let's unsnap our friends, fight Thanos, kill him and his people, and hopefully live happily ever after.
And we've known it's been building to that. But in this movie, keep in mind, like, in this movie, Thanos was already dead. Their mission was get the stones, get back. They didn't even, like, hint, like, don't forget, Thanos is there, and he might be watching, and he'll come back. They touched on Nebula touched on it once they got back to the Guardians of the Galaxy movie scene, right? But it wasn't like, and then we'll find Thanos again and beat him. Like, they weren't even thinking about that shit. Thanos just showed up, and they were like, fuck.
Yeah. They're like, fuck Thanos too. Yeah, I like that. Because I think it's that first scene when before Thanos is beheaded, where he says, "I am inevitable," and I was just like, "That's kind of a corny line," but then as we get Thanos too, I was like, "Oh, that's a great line."
Yeah, he is.
Big fan.
There he is. He's inevitable. But you know what he's not?
What?
He's not Iron Man.
He's not Iron Man, because during the big fight, it's all about who's gonna snap who, and there's a race for the gauntlet, and Spider-Man gets involved, and everyone gets involved. Black Panther's running with it, this and that, and
It's like a relay
who's
race.
gonna? It was, and who's gonna slap it on and snap? Because I think it gets the Hulk grabs. He's like, I can do it. It gives off all this radiation. I'm essentially made for this, but it doesn't work out for him.
Well, okay, so the Hulk puts it on once they get all the stones back. They put it in the glove. The Hulk's like, I can handle it. I won't die. He snaps. It melts his arm. It Bob Dole's his fucking arm. And he's the Hulk, right? So he snaps. He did the unsnapping. But at the end, there was no call to get the gauntlet back and snap again. That wasn't the play. The play was get this away from Thanos, like as far away as we can. So what ended up happening is Thanos gets it back. And then their only option at this point, well, you don't really know what's going to happen. Like, people are going to die at the end of this battle. We're not getting out of this scot-free. It's the last one. They want us to cry. But I didn't, at least. I was expecting, like, here's what I thought was going to happen. Okay. I thought Thanos gets the glove on. Captain Marvel comes back. She's fighting people off. She can't get the glove off of him. What I'm expecting is Hulk to emerge, and we're gonna get the old Stone Cold because Romanoff is dead because of Thanos. Like, and she's not. There's no way to bring her back. He tried to snap her back, and she's not back, and it's this guy's fault. And I was expecting like a Hulk moment, but what we got was some trickery.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a regular human being and you snap this, you're fucking toast. And Iron Man, goes after Thanos, who's just about got it, and he's about to fucking snap and everything, and he gets in there and they fight, and he looks, and Iron Man has stolen the gems and this and that, which kind of put me off a bit because I was like, was he a fucking pickpocket? Where'd this hidden skill come from? It seemed like it seemed like an Ant-Man skill. Like he's the thief.
I bought it because Thanos didn't put on his gauntlet. He put on Iron Man's gauntlet. And you know how Tony Stark is with his fucking
toys,
contingency plans to contingency plans, right? So it made sense to me that these gloves could just swap the stones around without Thanos knowing. Because this is not his gauntlet. This is Tony Stark's gauntlet,
Yeah. And I think the reason it rubs me the wrong way is very similar to the end of the Game of Thrones episode that sort of upset me. Whereas this up close quarters, you have the thing. Oh, I dropped the thing, but I caught it in my other hand to do a thing. And I think that's why I kind of.
And then the thing just happens. There's the thing. But I think what's different about this in Game of Thrones.
Wow, it's the same fucking ending for both things.
No. What's different about this is Game of Thrones knew, like, we have to kill this guy or we're fucked. And in Avengers, we don't know that we have to snap him away or we're fucked. We know we have to keep these stones away from him, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying, from a story perspective, the solution was the same.
Oh yeah, okay. Kill the guy.
Up close fight, kill him with the thing, and it deactivates his droid army.
Yeah, and they all disappear.
They all poof.
No, yeah.
It's all episode. This is all episode 1, ladies and gentlemen.
I got you.
Game of Thrones is episode 1. Endgame is episode 1. Can George Lucas get some goddamn respect?
We knew it had to happen in Game of Thrones. We didn't really know that it had to happen necessarily like this in this one, right?
But
he snaps.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the second I knew somebody, one of the OGs, and a big one. Okay, like I'm talking Hulk, Thor, Cap. Natasha's already dead. Romanov's dead, right? So she's already gone. We already lost her. But like, basically, I'm thinking Cap or Tony Stark. They're not going to make it out of this, right? And when he says, "I am inevitable," I'm telling you this as clear as the day is day.
Yeah.
I'm like, if he says, "I am Iron Man," he's dead. He dies right now. And he said,
Yeah.
"I am Iron Man." Boom, snaps his fingers. I'm like, he's dead.
Yeah. I was in the same boat. Like, I didn't want him to say it. I was like, no, don't say it. You're going to die.
Yeah, because
Oh,
the
you said
original
it.
movie ended with that line. It started this whole thing, and it's sort of like a bookend to the whole Iron Man saga.
Yeah. So Tony Stark snaps it, destroys Thanos and his army. They get dusted.
They get dusted. Like,
Thanos's dusting is pretty cool.
you think to yourself, like, if Tony Stark knew he was going to die, what would he say? He wouldn't say, like, "No, not today." No, he would say some shit like, "I am Iron Man." Boom. Because, like, Tony Stark. And if he's thinking, like, well, people will say, what were his last words? "I am Iron Man." Bam. And they really weren't his last words. But yeah, once he said that, I knew it was over for him.
Yeah, so he pretty much gets his face melted, although he's still very attractive. So they did a great job because it's a movie. But yeah, he's fucked up and dying, and we get that feeling flip flop with the Spider-Man going in there like, oh shit, no, Mr. Stark, no, and it's very good between both of them.
Pepper's
And
there.
then Pepper's there. She did a good job. She's like, it's gonna be fine, Tony. Obviously, he's fucking dying.
Like, we won.
But that's
what does she say?
yeah.
Like, the way she says it, it's like she knows it's over.
Yeah.
She's like, you don't have to fight anymore, or like your job's done. Like, you did it. It's over. You can rest. You can rest. That's what she says. You can rest now.
Her being in the movie in general felt so out of place to me. It's like, why is the secretary here? Why is and especially in that, because she was in the big battle scene, and for whatever reason we get a girl power scene where all the girl Marvel characters band together and take on a mob. That was forced and kind of cringy, but I think she was even in that, and I'm like, those are real heroes. You fucking make the coffee. What are you doing, Pepper? Please, you're going to die.
Well, she started that way, but it's like, that's Tony's person.
Yeah,
it made sense to me that that they've wedged her in there, because I could see a conversation where it's like, look, you're not just gonna throw me in there to be the crying baby person, and we already know, like, we've already heard that there's problems with her in the MCU, like she might not come back, whatever, and so that seemed like I'll come back if this type thing. Like, I want to have important, like, significance in the final battle. I don't want to just be like crying at the end when Tony Stark dies. And it certainly felt like that.
I mean, it worked for Jon Favreau. He wasn't in the big battle, but he was at Tony Stark's funeral, which is a good scene. Everyone's there. They do a good little shot where you get to see
There's so many people there. I didn't even know who the fuck one of them was until today.
Was it the person on the stair? Who was it? There was some. The kid on the right. Who the fuck was it?
He's the kid in Iron Man 3.
Oh my God,
like,
he's
the kid,
sprouted.
The kid he's like helping out throughout the movie.
Yeah, the Christmas kid.
Yeah, Christmas kid. It's him.
Holy fuck.
He
should have wore a name tag.
Yeah, no shit.
They
gave us nothing with him. Like, you remember him.
The writers, the writers or producers were like, and then we'll track back and we'll see all them. You know what? Find the kid. We're also going to have the kid from Iron Man 3.
He was way too far back, too.
Yeah, and then they saw his fucking headshot from 2019, and they were like, fuck. He's got a mustache now. What the fuck?
Yeah, he was way too far back. It was like him, and then Colby Smulders' name. I can't remember her character's name. the Shield agent,
Yeah.
and then Nick Fury or something, or like Hawkeye, and then like he's way
And
too far
then
in the back for them people.
Jason Voorhees peeks through the window like part 3, like right behind Nick Fury. He's like,
And then
but yeah.
Happy asks, what's her name? Morgan Stark.
Hmm.
What do you want? A cheeseburger. And that is what Tony wanted when they rescued him. You know, like, we have to do a press conference, let everyone know you're back. He's like, okay, but I gotta have a fucking cheeseburger or I'm gonna kill everybody. And she just wanted a cheeseburger. And they didn't. I'm like, ooh, how deep are they gonna, like, I got the connection right away.
I didn't, and I'm glad, because
Yeah,
if they would have said their father wanted one before the press conference,
I'm like, don't do it. And he's like, your dad liked cheeseburgers or something. But they didn't
yeah,
like go into detail, but I picked up on it and I'm like, that's the way you do it.
yep,
You know?
that's exactly the way you do it, because it still plays, and if you are really into the movies and you know that stuff, you've just experienced it on a deeper, better level, which is great. Big fan of that. But Iron Man's he's dead. Tony Stark gets fucking murdered. We get the funeral. There's no pop up like I'm still alive.
Mm-mm.
He's fucking gone. So I was like, okay. I mean, they've been talking about Robert Downey Jr. and all this kind of stuff for a while. Same thing with Chris Evans, and I was like, well, looks like Chris Evans is going to be around. And then suddenly he's 90 years old, because when he travels back in time to put those stones back, he's supposed to time travel back, but instead he just lives out that timeline. He just lives out those 50 years or whatever the fuck it is,
Yep. Well, for him,
and lives his life.
here's the comic nerd in me. For him to get that old with the super soldier serum flowing through his veins, like, he might be 120 years old. You know, like, he may have seen his grandkids die and like, okay, I'm tapping out. Like, this shit's done. Like, he may have not just been regular old man age, because he's jacked up with superpowers too. So he may have lived out a bunch of stuff. Like, he may have fought alongside the Avengers in some alternate timeline as a 70-year-old dude, and now he's 130. But he comes back as an old man, and he's got a shield with him. And Falcon goes over to talk to him. And I'm telling you, I got choked up in the beginning with Hawkeye's family. Didn't cry, but I got choked up. I lost my breath, sort of like excitement, like, man, when he started swinging that hammer around. It was emotional when Tony Stark died, but I didn't get choked up or cry. But I don't know why, but when he gives Falcon the shield, that's when I cried. That's when I lost it. Because he's like, I don't know if I can be in a world without Captain America. And he's like, well, here's fucking, here, try this on. He's like, okay. Like, oh, you're Captain America. I give it to you. I choose you.
I was just so distracted by his facial hair. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and then
it's too narrow.
They end it with the first Avenger getting his last dance with his love of his life in their little house in the suburbs or whatever. And that's where we end. It doesn't start with him chronologically in the MCU, but like within the story, he was the first, and it ends with him.
Yeah, and we get that handoff. You're going to be the new Captain America. We also get a handoff with Thor, who's just like, I'm not a king.
Mm-mm.
For fuck's sake, we've known this for a while. And he hands off the keys of New Asgard to Valkyrie. Says, this is yours now. You're the queen, and you're a good leader, and they're lucky to have you. And what am I going to do? I don't know. I'm probably going to go fuck with the Guardians of the Galaxy, because that shit's hilarious.
And we get a scene there, and it's cool, and there is a little back and forth, but like new Fat Thor is happier. He's like, no, you're the leader. Whereas in Infinity War, it was sort of like a little more like, well,
Alpha,
I'm Thor. Like, but in this one, he's trying not to be Thor, but he's still Thor.
He's like, yeah, we'll pretend you're the leader. It's fine.
No, it's totally you. Like you're the leader.
And he's giving that look like I could fucking
Yeah.
break you, dude. You know it, right?
You just crush your head like a grape.
And still fat. God
Yes.
bless you. God
Still
bless you,
fat.
movie. God bless you for that. Amazing. So yeah, Avengers Endgame, 3 hours. Most of it is going back in time to find the stones and revisiting these previous Marvel movies. Like I said, it's sort of a celebration that way, like a greatest hits. And neat. Everybody gets their stuff in a decent way. Even Black Panther, Scarlet Witch is there for like literally that one scene, but it's her scene and she's very
Oh yeah.
good with it.
Yep.
So they did a great job. I would hate to, well, I'd love it, but the writer's room for this, with all the fucking threads and strings of yarn crossing the room, like, well, this motherfucker's there, and boom, boom, boom. It's like, Jesus Christ, juggling all of these characters. It had to have been difficult.
What do you think in terms of not the final battle where everyone gets their shit in and everyone plays a role, but like obviously some people play a bigger role. But before that, I thought they did a really good job of making it making everyone have to be there. Like it doesn't work without all of them. Like
That,
two
yeah,
people
that's
got to get the
why.
soul stone. We need Cap to pretend to be like all of it had to work out. Like Scott Lang knows about the quantum realm. Like they all needed to be. They all needed to like pull off their shit for it to work. It wasn't like, well, why the fuck was this person even there?
Yeah. Well, Hawkeye, why? I mean, she just goes to like Hong Kong after he kills some like Yakuza guy, and she's like, stop it.
Well,
And
yeah,
it's like,
she
yeah,
goes to
right.
get him to.
Well, like, you never see, like, we need a sniper to do this thing, and you're the best fucking shot I've ever seen.
No, but they need two people that love each other in a way. They need somebody's got to.
Do you think they knew that when they sent him? They're like, one of those guys is gonna die.
No, I don't think they
They don't
did.
even know it.
I don't think they knew that because Nebula. Ooh, maybe Nebula did know that. She's cool. Okay.
She cool. She cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, it ends. The movie ends probably with that windows scene where we're watching Cap, years and years
Dancing with
ago,
Peggy
getting that
Carter.
Peggy Carter, get some old people dancing, and it's like that's how your Avengers series, your Marvel Cinematic Universe comes to a close with Captain America dancing with this lady who a lot of people are like, "Who's that?
What? Fuck
Who
you.
is that? I don't know who that
You know
is.
who Peggy Carter is? There
Is
would
that
be no
Black
Captain
Widow?
America without Peggy Carter.
Is that Black Widow?"
She made Captain America.
But a good movie, loved it. Fuck, Fat Thor, smart ass Hulk.
Oh,
Captain America's awesome in it. Obviously,
before I forget, Captain America, when he comes back, he was like obviously doesn't look like Cap we know from the back. And at first I'm like, is he little Cap again? Is he little Steve Rogers, like pre-serum? Because he was like hunched down, like he
he
didn't
was
look the
thin.
same, right?
Yeah,
And I'm like, oh shit, what does this mean? But then I know he's just old. Okay.
just old. So yeah, check it out. It sounds like everybody has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hell of a movie. It'll be interesting to see where they go with it now. I mean, like I said, I think they've got some in the hopper, like the Black Widow and Spider-Man. And there's a new Spider-Man coming out soon where he's going to, I don't know, Paris or some shit.
There was a problem I had initially where Spider-Man's ending, where he's back at high school, and then he sees his buddy,
Then they hug.
and I'm like, wait, motherfucker, it's been 5 years. Why are you still in high school? And then I thought about it today or yesterday in the afternoon. I'm like, oh shit, he very may well have been snapped as well. Like they were
That's
both
true.
gone. And it turns out I didn't see this trailer for the new Spider-Man, but it turns out that is indeed the case. And like
Ah,
part of this plot of this movie is that him and a bunch of his classmates from the first Spider-Man with him in it, Homecoming, they're like trying to adjust to this world where like 5 years has passed for everybody else. So it's like him and Mary Jane and his buddy whose name I forget. Um, they all got snapped away. That's why he was there at the end. That makes sense now. But that bothered
Yeah,
me initially. I'm like, wait a minute.
it's gonna be a good movie. It's gonna be a good movie.
I'm excited.
So and as much as I enjoyed Endgame, not perfect. Fat Thor makes up for literally all of the flaws. Um, Game of Thrones. Real
Yeah.
quick here, I know we're over our time. I just want to mention this because I think we're gonna eventually talk about the end of Game of Thrones when it happens. I think there's 3, maybe 4 episodes left, and they're all going to be 90 plus minutes, and that's fine.
There's supposed to be 3 left.
But this was the big one, you know. The Night King is here at Winterfell. He's got his army of the dead, and it's the big battle, and everyone's talking about who's gonna die. And the episode leading to this might as well have been a setup for, oh, this person's gonna die, that person's gonna die. A lot of the couples, oh, you're in love. Well, that sucks because one of you's gonna die.
Um,
A Disney movie, a Marvel Disney movie called Avengers Endgame had more deaths with meaning
that
than this
matters.
fucking Game of Thrones episode. That I was expecting a body count where almost all the main characters were going to go, except for 4 or 5. But it was nobody of consequence. Theon Greyjoy does get killed, and his arc is actually very good, and his death scene's awesome. But as far as list of characters of importance, he wouldn't be in the top 10.
No, and like he's a character where you feel like he already sort of died once and got a second chance, like another lease on life. So it's not like one of those.
Oh man,
It's not one of those Ned Stark like, oh, already. Like
yeah,
it. You felt like okay, he got to redeem himself in the end and whatever. And like, who wants to live with no dick? Nobody.
right.
And balls or whatever's gone.
Um,
The other thing
the
was
fight, yeah.
fire sword guy who died 100 times already. Like, oh no, he died. Like, who gives a fuck? This
Nobody
guy's
knows his name. What's his
literally
name?
fire sword guy is his name, by the way, and he's literally died and literally come back to life already several times. The Lord of
Yeah.
Light brought me back. Like, oh, good, so you can die again. That doesn't count.
The fight scenes were amazing. I expect this episode and the actors and so much of the season in general to win many, many Emmy awards when the time comes. It was a beautiful looking episode. The music was on point, but I hate how they completed the Night King, because it's all about the Night King leading the army, and he's going to take over humanity, and it's just going to be nothing but death on the planet. And he gets lured into this trap by Bran, going to go to the tree,
I guess.
and sure enough,
Would you call that a
I
trap?
guess,
Is it a trap
and
if something that you didn't plan for at all ends up killing you?
yeah, and the Night King goes there. And by the way, I love what they did with the Night King this season, because before it was like a real CGI face and shit,
Yeah.
and it was always kind of off. This was a dude, and he had some evil swagger to him.
Oh yeah.
I really liked who they had under that paint. Awesome.
Raised
And
his
it's
hands
slow.
up and was like, "Fuck you."
He gives him the Undertaker, and yeah, slow motion walking to Bran. He's gonna kill Bran, or something really amazing and epic and like mystical and all that cosmic is about to happen.
Because Bran just warged for like 14 minutes. What was he warging about? Yeah, he's the ravens. He's flying around. He's looking at dragons. He's warging like a motherfucker. And then Night King comes. He de-wargs.
Yeah, and Night King
And then,
he pulls his sword, and I'm like, oh shit, he's about to kill this kid, or they're gonna fight, or Bran's gonna stand up, and it's like, I can walk. And the second he pulls his sword, Arya Stark out of nowhere hits him with the RKO.
she does
but
out of nowhere.
but no, yeah, she goes to stab him. He grabs her, says, "No, I'm gonna crush you." He grabs her sword hand, but she drops that sword from that sword hand, catches it with her offhand, gives him a nice little stab right in the gut, kills him, dusts him. The whole fucking white army of the dead gets dusted, and I've never seen someone get jobbed out so fucking hard
Yeah.
than
Basic
what I
bitch
saw the
Jon
Night
Snow
King.
not doing shit. of
Just running
consequence,
from a dragon,
hanging out on a
screaming at the
dragon,
dragon. Ah!
hanging out on a dragon. Dragon's doing work. Here's the thing I was interested to see: how are the dragons going to react to zombie dragon? And they were like, "That ain't a fucking dragon anymore. I'm gonna kill it." I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, well that answers that question.
and
The
they had
dragons kill each other.
in-air dragon fights, and it was super cool.
That was
And
awesome.
then
Bit
and
a
then one
hole in
time
the
when
bad dragon's neck. And then, but
yeah,
I remember Chris and I watched this, and I was like, wait a minute, that dragon didn't die though, right? Like, or did that kill it? Can a dragon bite just kill a ghosty undead frost thing? And no, it doesn't. But now he's got a big ass hole in his neck, and you see his fire all the time.
yeah, and
Jon
yeah, and the
Snow's
one
just like, I
dragon.
give up, kill me. What a bitch move!
Yeah, we didn't. He didn't have a good.
Like I
He's like, I
expected,
hope nobody saw that.
he's gonna jump up and cut this dragon down, and like something epic is gonna happen. The other dragon's gonna sweep in and grab him, and then he's gonna. And he
Well,
literally is just like,
I'm
I give up, and my little sister saved me.
well. I was waiting for it, and we still might see it. But Jon Snow's a Targaryen. They have this D&D fire immunity
Yes,
to
they
them.
do.
So
Came
I
in
was
handy.
waiting. So I was waiting for him to get burnt up real bad there, and it didn't really happen.
No, I
You
mean,
know.
there was that one time where Daenerys is flying through, and she's like, "All right, motherfucker, let's see if you're really a Targaryen, because I'm setting all
Oh
this shit
yeah,
on
yeah,
fire."
yeah. I did like the napalm strikes with the dragon drive-bys. That shit was pretty cool.
And then
But that scene,
I was thinking of the checkers match, right? Because he's like, "Look, I got one zombie dragon, right? You got two dragons. I can give up my one zombie dragon, because then if you only got one dragon left, because like who knows, we didn't know what happened to the other one. Like
yeah,
he flew
it's a
away with
good
all the
trade.
shit on him. Then you got another just regular ass dead dragon that I can turn into another zombie dragon, and then you got
Yeah.
no dragons to fight me with. So I was
The
getting all in my own head about it.
I was so excited because the battle was amazing,
Yes.
and you can see like the White Walkers, like they're the heavy favorites. Like the first wave that they sent at the White Walkers, and you see all the fire swords, and they just get like extinguished in
They're
the
just going
distance.
out slowly.
And I was just like, oh, that's fucking awesome. So and there's just a lot of that, and Hope is fucking gone. And then what happens? It looks like Jon Snow might do a little something. He's chasing the Night King a little bit. Night King turns around, hits him with the Undertaker, raises his hands, and he raises the dead. For everybody who has fallen in this battle, guess whose side they're on now? The Night Kings. So things go from bad to super worse,
Dale.
and I was so excited.
Hey Dale, where did they send all the women and children for safety?
In the crypt.
In the crypt. What's in there?
Dead bodies.
Dead motherfuckers are in there, man. Use your
Yeah.
brains.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. That was this crazy little scene down there. But that fucking Night King, he's like, let me swagger my way to this kid and kill this fucking kid, only to get got by Arya Stark, the least interesting character in all of the fucking show. I know a lot of women and girls love Arya.
I love
girl
Arya.
power. I found her storyline when she goes to the the faceless people awful. I wish her story would have been different because I like the idea of Arya, but what I saw and experienced was boring, terrible bullshit. And for that character to kill the Night King on some RKO out of nowhere shit, I was so annoyed.
It does solidify my position that she's the baddest motherfucker on the show.
I get if they better put the fucking belt on her, is all I'm saying.
They better. If she doesn't, because who's left? She's got this list, right? Who's left on there? Cersei? You better die, bitch.
Yeah,
But
well,
you
now
know
we're
what?
gonna get the battle of the bitches.
So here's the feel. This was so crazy, right? Because like this crazy battle happens. That's not what I thought. And then when she jumps out of the sky, I'm thinking, "Ooh, he caught her. Oh, Arya dies here. I didn't see that coming." And like, or oh, Bran's gonna like do some crazy magic shit we didn't know about. And
That's what I was expecting.
And she just stabs him. It's like, oh,
And
that's like
he's
some
destroyed it.
go to hell, Jason. That's like some Jason goes to
Yeah.
hell shit.
It really was. And his fucking disintegrates into ice cubes, and which is the exact same ending to Endgame. And boy, oh boy, boy, oh fuck, and the fact that he's really the only person of consequence that died was the Night King.
Yep.
Super pissed off. Oh,
That
didn't Jorah Mormont died? Um,
yeah.
so okay, that's he might fall in the
He's
top
another
10
get
of
out of jail
character
free card
importance.
though. We already wrote him off as being dead when he had that fucking plague that kills
Scalies,
everyone.
yeah, he had the
And
Scalies.
then he got a freebie and he got to come back and redeem himself. I wanted a RKO out of nowhere good guy death.
I wanted Brienne or even Jamie
Yes.
is what I wanted. Give me Tyrion. I'm actually hoping because in the crypt it looks like Sansa and Tyrion they share this look as the attack's going down. Like you got that dagger, maybe we should just kill ourselves. I'd
I
love
thought
if
they
the
were gonna
next
kill themselves
episode.
too. I'm like,
I'd
oh, they're
love
gonna
if
kill themselves.
the next episode they just open the crypt and they just find out like some of us survived because they all got poofed, but it looks like Sansa and Tyrion killed themselves. Whoops. But no, this show's on some pussy shit now, so ain't nobody dying
The
anymore.
Game of Thrones I know, like Daenerys dies or something, something I don't see coming. Uh or like Cersei's army comes in, you think to their rescue, and they end up defeating the Night King, and she just mudhole stomps him right there. But the one thing I will say about this episode is, it is there are 3 episodes left, and you're like, we're all so focused on this, like, guys, this is the most important thing. And people are like, what about after the thing? And the people in the show are like, motherfucker, we might not eat. There's a huge chance that we all die and this Night King takes us over. This is the most important thing. And then they kill him. And then instantly, Chris is like, Cersei's just going to fucking fuck them up now. They got like 40 people alive.
Well, the only yeah, right. And she called it. She said, "Well, whoever wins that fight, then they got to deal with me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll probably win." And if it was going to be the Night King with his fucking army of his the size of that army would just fucking exponentially grow. It's insane. Unless you just fucking stab him in the tum tum, then never mind.
Right.
But yeah, so it'll be interesting because it looks like we will probably get that Clegane Bowl that everybody's been wanting forever. Those brothers are going to fight. My theory is a trial by combat scenario, so it's a fair 1v1. It's not going to be a battle where there's 100 people, distracting one another. No, it's going to be 1v1. And we'll see. He has 3 episodes left.
Good luck
it,
beating
it's
Kane.
it was good, and it's a good season so far. Just little. I need people to go.
In
I
a
need people
show
to
in
go.
a show where I'm ready for anything to happen, I felt like the least predictable, because it's like the easiest way out thing happened. Like,
Yeah.
I thought, like, oh shit, does the Night King win and then Cersei beats him, or like Chris was like, maybe he wins the Game of Thrones and he fucking sits on the Iron Throne. Like, who knows? And they were just like, no, just some. Arya got him.
So we'll see. We'll revisit Game of Thrones. I don't know if we do it every week. Obviously, this is final season, and it's been a long fucking journey with folks watching this goddamn show. But we'll definitely talk about it when this
Put
season's
the strap on her.
at an end.
Put the strap
I
on.
thought
The
you
way
better.
she did Littlefinger, she's like,
Yeah.
fuck you. Just
This
cut
is
his
like
throat.
if they're like Curtis Axel won the Royal Rumble, I'd be annoyed, but I'd be like, well, you better just go all the way with it then. You better win at Mania. Wasting my time. Have Curtis Axel win the Royal Rumble. That's how I feel. She's the Curtis Axel of Game of Thrones.
She's the baddest person in that universe. Clearly.
She's.
Clearly.
I hope.
Did you kill Thanos? Did you kill a Night King? I did.
I was the one swinging it. I swung the hammer. What kind of beer do you have? I love Fat Thor.
Fat Thor's the best.
Let's plug it up and get on out of here. Just follow me on Instagram at Dale Zawada. Look at all my pictures.
You can follow me on Instagram at James JR Music. You can follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/James JR Songs. That's it. We got some dad bod shows coming up. We'll talk about that next week. You've been here long enough.
Yep. All right, that's going to do it. This was episode 69. Thanks for listening. I'm Don Cheadle.
I'm Fat Thor's diabetes.